A quality scale is shape, or sound, or movement, or angle, or color, or proportion. All of these are qualities. There are healers who use only light and color. There are healers who use only sound. There's healers that use only angles. There are healers that use only numbers. All of these are quality scales to express the complete spectrum of vibrational forces. But I want to mention that how I found out about this in the first place was through my dear friend and mentor, Dr. Ibrahim Karim from Cairo, Egypt. So Dr. Karim built another system on top of the French identification of the vibrational spectrum. Now with Dr. Karim's work, what he did is that he not only worked with the 12 bands of all the different powers or qualities of energy that exist with subtle energy, but he asked a very important question. In the French work, when you look at this particular spectrum, again, bear in mind that though it's expressed as color, color is only one way that invisible vibration could manifest. It could stay completely invisible to normal human senses, or it could manifest as a sound, as a shape, etc. That's why you see all of these medieval texts talking about correspondences. This sound equals this color, which equals this shape, which equals this string rate, etc. So in the French work, they talked about the way that the 12 vibrations will form around the boundary of objects. You can actually test them there directly. And then certain people, places, things, shapes, would manifest a very specific vibration. They called it the shape-caused wave. It's a vibratory wave that comes from a shape. Now, Dr. Karim did a tremendous amount of work with this because he's an architect. He wanted to understand exactly what vibratory forces am I getting from shapes and how do they affect living beings. But he did something else the French hadn't thought to do, a brilliant act of lateral thinking. And that is, just as you have the 12 bands of all the vibrations that appear on the perimeter of all objects, he asked, well, what's the energy in the center of everything? What's in the center of every chakra in the human body? What's in the center of every shape, of every form, of any material? So the center of everything, any form, if you draw a circle, it will appear at the moment you draw the circle in the center of the circle. Now that appears strange to us. We don't think about natural forces interacting with our creative activity in this way, but it does. As soon as you learn to detect these energies, you'll be able to create any shape or test any existing shape, whether in 2D or 3D, and see exactly where this force manifests. This means that this balancing force, just like all the rest of the vibrational spectrum, is engineerable. That means it's possible to do a type of vibrational engineering with these energies. So Dr. Karim, in asking the question, what's that energy in the center? He identified that one of the three energies is what he called the higher harmonic of gold. This is the exact same vibratory energy as what you see around the heads or the bodies of the saints in every tradition. It's not a metaphor. It's an actual vibrational force. There are ways this can be engineered and activated, and they use this all the time in the ancient world. So the French, in their work in the 1930s, identified the way that the 12 bands of vibration that they had detected, which are all of the polarized energies in the world, all the things that create one specific power. It's hot versus cold. It's light versus dark. These different specialized powers of the 12 then correspond with what Dr. Karim found with the one quality in the center, the centering vibration, which has no opposite. It's the connection to the original unified source. It's unity. And what we have then is an exquisite system in which that energy of unity in the center then manifests into physical space and specific activity by taking on energies of specific bands of the 12 bands. Dr. Karim advanced this work so far that by the early 1990s in Egypt, certain people in the Egyptian government knew about his work, and they invited him to demonstrate the power of these vibrations coming from shapes, coming from geometry, at the Egyptian National Research Center. This then led to Dr. Karim successfully demonstrating that he could affect the life functions in living beings through pure shapes. So for example, he put one geometric form over a fast replicating cell culture, left another alone, and showed that the one left alone would replicate normally, very fast replication of cells. The other one went into suspended animation and had no replication of cells until you took the geometry off. Why? Because that created the specific vibration that creates suspended animation. Other vibrations create all types of other functions. Every subtle energy function that exists can be identified and directed through the universal vibrational spectrum. So at the Egyptian National Research Center, when he showed that to the biologists and the chemists and the physicians that were there, they didn't know what to make of it. I have a copy of their research report where they said we cannot account for this effect with our modern knowledge in science and technology. So they actually created a branch at the Egyptian National Research Center for the study of the effect of geometric forms on life functions. He was the one that identified the centering vibration. Brilliant work. And all kinds of different ways that this can be used to design anything or be applied to the human energy field, or to balance the energy of land, or to transmute detrimental energy from all types of vibrational sources, earth energy lines, electromagnetic fields, all kinds of things, into something highly beneficial. But what he doesn't focus on, because he's focused completely on the centering vibration, is he doesn't teach much about or do much research with the 12 bands. So from my perspective, I became very fascinated with the 12 bands. Ibram's done a masterwork with the centering vibration. With the 12 bands, I felt there was a huge amount of work that was given out by the French that I was finding in the translation project from their text, where they were describing the use of these vibrations in ancient Egypt, in China, in India, in Easter Island, in all kinds of ancient cultures. And their observations in these texts are absolutely stunning for how they knew to generate these vibrations and then project them. They could use it from anything from powerful spiritual activations to profound healing, to projecting extremely toxic and deadly vibrations. That unless you're trained in an energetic science like Chinese medicine, a Western medical doctor will never even know what happened to the person, because they won't see the blockages that it creates. They won't see the effects on the energy flows, or how it changes the vibratory forces in the body at certain energy centers. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure the work with the 12 bands didn't get lost. And so I've been doing work now for years in being able to identify exactly what power is in each of the 12 bands. Every one of these 12 bands is a divine power from the unified source, from the Godhead, from a divine beginning that has to do with all the subtle energies that create life and life functions in the world. These are the subtle energies, the complete spectrum of them. With that, these means that these are all specific divine powers. Each one of the bands has a divine power. So I've spent years in researching in the French text and in many other bodies of work, as well as doing my own research over the last 15 years to identify exactly what power each band has. This then brings us to understanding the powers that are inherent in vibrations for things like vibrational healing, vibrational medicine. And one of the great references that we use today for this is the field of cymatics. Cymatics shows you how sound vibrations shape matter. So for example, if you have powder on a flexible membrane, or you have a liquid or a paste or an oil, or all these things that, not coincidentally, also correspond to certain substances in the human body, and you then apply a vibration to it, then that vibration, as soon as the sound hits the material is free enough to form into a specific shape, a specific mandala like this. And what you see in the cymatics work is that the moment you change the sound vibration, the visible shape changes. And what this means is if you can find the right sound vibration, you can find exactly the sound vibration that will resonate matter to create a specific function, including in living beings. And I want to mention to you that one of the things he discovered is that when you apply the sound vibration, it'll take the two-dimensional surface of the liquid, the paste, the powder, etc., immediately form a perfect mandala. But he found if you take 5 vibrations and you combine 5 vibrations together, then you could get the powder on the plate to come together, rise up vertically, and move like a living being.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
Young Gotti! Young